Let me tell you something that might surprise you. When a woman acts hot and cold, it doesn't always mean what you think it means. She can be deeply interested in you and still pull away. She can care about you and still go cold. And if you're sitting there confused, analyzing every text, every response, wondering what you did wrong, here's what you need to understand. There are 3 types of hot and cold behavior. Only one of them means she's done with you. The other 2, they're actually signs she's interested. Let me break this down for you from a woman's perspective. Here's the truth from a woman's mouth. You're not crazy for being confused by her mixed signals. One day she's texting you paragraphs, laughing at your jokes, making plans. The next day, she's distant, barely responding, acting like you don't exist. And your mind starts racing. What did I do wrong? Did I say something? Is she losing interest? Is she talking to someone else? Most men spend days, even weeks, stuck in that loop, analyzing every detail, replaying every conversation, trying to figure out what changed. But here's what you need to understand. Hot and cold behavior isn't random. It's not chaos. There's psychology behind it. And once you understand that psychology, you'll stop feeling powerless and start seeing exactly what's happening. I'm going to walk you through the psychology behind why women do this, the 3 types of hot and cold behavior, what each one actually means for you, and exactly how to respond to each type without looking desperate or needy. By the end of this, you'll know exactly what her behavior is telling you and what to do about it. So grab some water, settle in for the next 20 minutes, and let's get into it. First, you need to understand why women do this in the first place. Here's what's really happening when a woman goes hot and cold. First, understand this. Women are wired to test emotional security before they fully invest. It's not manipulation. It's psychology. It's how we protect ourselves from getting hurt. When a woman feels herself getting close to someone, when she starts to care, her brain activates a protection mechanism. Think about it. Opening up to someone means risking rejection, betrayal, vulnerability. So before she goes all in, she pulls back to see what happens. She's asking herself, is this man safe? Is he stable? Will he chase me when I pull away? Or will he stay grounded? That's the first layer. But here's what most men don't realize. Hot and cold behavior isn't always about you. Sometimes a woman goes cold because of what's happening in her own life. Work stress, family drama, her own insecurities flaring up. She's processing something internally, and it has nothing to do with how she feels about you. Picture this. She had an amazing date with you on Friday. She's feeling excited, maybe even vulnerable because she's starting to like you. Then, over the weekend, her best friend makes a comment. You're moving too fast. Don't you think you should slow down? Suddenly, she's second-guessing everything. Or maybe she's been hurt before. The last guy she opened up to played games, and now every time she feels herself getting close to someone, her walls go up automatically. Here's the third thing you need to understand. Interest level plays a massive role. If a woman has high interest but also high fear, you'll see intense hot and cold swings. She wants you, but she's terrified of getting hurt. So she pulls back to protect herself, then feels the loss and comes back warm. If her interest is medium, she's genuinely uncertain about you. She's testing to see if you're worth the investment. Her hot and cold is exploration, not protection. But if her interest is low and declining, the hot moments are guilt or obligation. She doesn't want to hurt you, so she throws you warmth here and there, hoping you'll get the hint and let it fade naturally. And here's what triggers the switch from hot to cold. Pressure. Intensity. Moving too fast emotionally. When you come on too strong, when you demand too much too soon, it activates her flight response. Or sometimes it's the opposite. When you pull back first, when she senses your interest fading, it flips a switch in her ego. Suddenly she goes from cold to hot because she wants to prove she can still get your attention. But here's what you really need to know. There are actually 3 completely different types of hot and cold behavior, and they mean totally different things. Let me show you the 3 types and how to spot them. Type 1. The interest test. This is when a woman pulls back to see if you'll chase. She was warm, engaged, texting you back quickly, showing interest. Then suddenly, she goes cold. Short replies. Takes hours to respond. Seems distant. Here's the key. She's still engaging. She's just doing it differently. She's watching your stories, liking your posts occasionally, reacting to things you share. She hasn't disappeared. She's testing. This usually happens early in dating, right after she's shown vulnerability, or when things start feeling serious. She wants to see if you're like every other guy who panics when she pulls back, or if you're different. The timing is usually quick. She goes cold for a few days, maybe a week, watching your reaction. Type 2. The processing pullback. This is when a woman withdraws because she's protecting herself emotionally. You had a deep conversation. You opened up to each other. Things felt intense, real, vulnerable. And then she goes completely quiet. This isn't a test. This is fear. She's scared of how much she's starting to care. She's scared of getting hurt. So she pulls back to create emotional distance and regain her sense of control. The difference here is the context. Type 2 happens after emotional intimacy. After moments that made her feel exposed, she needs space to process what she's feeling and decide if it's safe to keep going. The timeline is longer. Sometimes 24 hours. Sometimes 2 weeks. But here's the pattern. When she comes back, she usually explains. She says she needed space. She was overwhelmed. She's sorry for going quiet. And when she returns, she's warmer than before. Type 3. The fading interest. This is when a woman's interest is genuinely declining, and the hot moments are just guilt or obligation. She's not testing you. She's not processing emotions. She's slowly exiting. The pattern is consistent decline with brief warm moments sprinkled in. She takes longer and longer to respond. She cancels plans. She's vague about rescheduling. And every so often, she'll send a warm text or laugh at your joke, just enough to keep you hoping. But it's not real warmth. It's guilt. She doesn't want to be the bad guy. She doesn't want to hurt you. So she gives you just enough to keep you around while she figures out how to let it fade. This happens over weeks, sometimes months. And the red flags are obvious if you're honest with yourself. She rarely initiates. Her excuses pile up. She's never available when you suggest plans. Now, here's where most men mess this up completely. They treat all 3 types the same. They either chase all of them or ignore all of them. And that's how you lose the ones who are actually interested and waste time on the ones who aren't. You need to know what each type actually means for you. Let me break down what each type is really telling you. Type 1. The interest test. Here's the good news. This actually indicates high interest. When a woman tests you like this, it means she cares enough to see if you're different. She's not pulling back because she doesn't like you. She's pulling back because she does, and she wants to make sure you're not going to fall apart the moment she's not giving you constant attention. Here's what's going through her mind. Does he need me to validate him? Will he panic and chase? Or is he confident enough to let me breathe without freaking out? This usually resolves within 3 to 7 days. And here are the green flags. She's still watching. She's still responding when you do reach out, just not immediately. She hasn't blocked you. She hasn't disappeared. She's observed. Type 2. The processing pullback. This is completely normal in developing relationships. When a woman pulls back after emotional intimacy, it doesn't mean she's not interested. It means she is, and that scares her. She's managing her own fear of vulnerability. She's asking herself, can I trust this? Am I safe with him? What if he hurts me? The timeline is longer here, anywhere from 24 hours to 2 weeks. But watch for these green flags. When she comes back, she usually explains, she says she needed space. She was feeling overwhelmed. And when she returns, she's warmer and more open because she's made the decision to keep going. That's the key difference. Type 2 women come back more invested than they left because they've processed their fear and decided you're worth the risk. Type 3. The fading interest. Here's the reality check. Interest is genuinely declining. This isn't about her processing emotions. This isn't about her testing you. She's avoiding confrontation and hoping it fades naturally. Her internal dialogue is, I don't want to hurt him. Maybe if I just pull back slowly, he'll get the message and we can avoid the awkward conversation. The hot moments aren't real. They're guilt. She feels bad about pulling away, so every so often she throws you warmth to ease her own conscience. But it's not coming from a place of genuine interest. Here are the red flags. She rarely initiates. Her excuses pile up and sound vague. I'm really busy this week. Things are just crazy right now. She's not making real plans. She's keeping you at a distance while figuring out how to exit without being the bad guy. And here's the critical part. Your response determines whether you pass the test, give her the space she needs, or waste your time on fading interest. So here's exactly what to do in each situation. Your response to each type needs to be completely different. Here's exactly what to do. Let's start with the interest test. When she's pulling back to see if you'll chase, here's your move. Do not chase. I cannot stress this enough. The moment you start double texting, asking what's wrong, over-explaining yourself, you fail the test. She's watching to see if you panic. Don't panic. Match her energy. If she's warm, you're warm. If she's cold, you're neutral. Not angry. Not distant. Just neutral. You're busy living your life. You're not sitting around waiting for her to text back. Here's the language. When she finally reaches out after going cold, don't ask what happened. Don't demand explanations. Keep it simple. Hey, good to hear from you. That's it. Or if she's been distant and you want to re-engage lightly, say this. Looks like you're tied up. Let me know when you're free. Give it 48 to 72 hours. Don't reach out during the cold phase. Let her feel your absence. Let her wonder what you're doing. Let her realize you're not like every other guy who crumbles when she pulls back. Here's the psychology. You're showing her you're confident. You're not needy. You're not affected by her behavior. And that makes you different. That makes you interesting. That makes you pass the test. The expected outcome. She re-engages with more respect and higher interest. She realizes you have options. You have value. And she wants to be part of your life, not the center of it. Now, the processing pullback. This one's different. Give genuine space. When a woman tells you she needs time or suddenly goes quiet after intimacy, don't chase. Don't demand to know why. Don't make it about you. Say this. I understand you need space. I respect that. I'm here when you're ready. That's it. You're not disappearing. You're not punishing her. You're showing emotional maturity. The timeline here is 3 to 7 days. Don't text every day checking in. Don't like every post trying to stay visible. Give her actual space to process. Here's the psychology. You're proving you're safe. You're proving you're not going to pressure her or make her fear feel worse. You're showing that vulnerability with you doesn't lead to suffocation. The expected outcome: she comes back warmer and more open. She's decided you're worth the risk. She feels safer with you than she did before. And your relationship deepens because you gave her room to breathe. Let me give you an example. I knew a guy who was dating a woman. They had an amazing weekend together. Deep conversations. Real connection. Then Monday morning, she went completely silent. Most guys would have panicked. Sent paragraphs. Called. Asked what went wrong. But he didn't. He sent one message. That was a great weekend. Take the time you need. I'm not going anywhere. Then he went quiet. 5 days later, she reached out. She apologized. She explained she got scared of how much she was starting to care. And she thanked him for not pressuring her. Their relationship got stronger because he respected her process. And finally, the fading interest. Pull back completely. Stop initiating. Stop investing energy. If her interest is genuinely fading, chasing will only make it worse. Your responses should be minimal. Polite, but minimal. If she texts, reply briefly. No questions. No effort to keep the conversation going. You're not being rude. You're just matching her investment. Here's the decision point. Give it 1 to 2 weeks. If she doesn't make real effort, genuine plans, consistent warmth, you have your answer. Move on. Redirect your energy to women who actually want your time. Here's the psychology. You're respecting yourself. You're not chasing someone who's checked out. And occasionally, when a woman realizes you've genuinely pulled back, it triggers her ego. She might re-engage, but don't count on it. The expected outcome: either she realizes what she's losing and reinvests, which is rare, or you save yourself weeks or months of wasted time and emotional energy on someone who wasn't that interested. But here's where 90% of men screw this up completely. Let me show you the mistakes that kill your chances, even when she was interested. First mistake: treating all hot and cold behavior the same. Most men either chase everything or ignore everything. They don't stop to diagnose what kind of hot and cold they're dealing with. So they chase a woman who's testing them, which makes them fail the test. Or they pull back from a woman who's processing emotions, which makes her think they don't care. You need to diagnose first, then respond. Don't use the same strategy for every situation. Second mistake: demanding explanations immediately. The moment she goes cold, you text, "What's wrong? Did I do something? Why are you acting like this?" You're putting pressure on her right when she's pulling back. That's the exact opposite of what you should do. It proves you're insecure. It proves you need her validation. Let the behavior speak for itself. Observe the pattern before you react. Third mistake: over-texting during the cold phase. She's distant, so you text more. You send good morning texts. You share memes. You try to stay visible, hoping she'll warm back up. But all you're doing is validating that you're affected. You're showing her she has power over your emotions. And that kills attraction fast. Match her energy or go slightly below. Never above. Fourth mistake: going completely ghost without reason. Some men read advice about pulling back and they take it too far. They disappear completely, even when the woman is just processing emotions and needs reassurance, not punishment. If she's dealing with the processing pullback, ghosting her makes her think you're done. That's not strategy. That's sabotage. Pull back strategically, not vindictively. Fifth mistake. Taking it personally every time. Every time she goes cold, you spiral. What did I do wrong? She must not like me. I'm not good enough. You make it about your worth instead of her psychology. And that emotional reactivity destroys your frame. Most of the time, her hot and cold has nothing to do with you. It's about her fear, her insecurity, her past. Stop making it about you. Here's the truth: most men don't understand about power dynamics. Whoever controls the frame controls the relationship. And hot and cold behavior, that's almost always a frame test. She's pushing to see if you'll hold your ground or if you'll crumble. Your reaction in those moments determines who has the power. When you stay calm, when you're unaffected by her pulling back, you keep the frame. When you panic, chase, demand explanations, you hand the frame to her. And once she has it, the dynamic shifts. She loses respect. Attraction fades. You become just another guy who couldn't handle her. Here's the thing: hot and cold only works if you let it work. It only creates power when you chase. When you sit around anxious, checking your phone, wondering what you did wrong. But when you hold your ground, when you match her energy or pull back yourself, it loses all power. Suddenly, she's the one checking her phone. She's the one wondering. Your attention should mirror her investment, not exceed it, not chase it. Mirror it. That's how you maintain the frame. And here's what women respect. We respect boundaries. We respect men who don't fold the moment we test them. We respect self-respect. The man who isn't desperate for our approval, who doesn't need constant validation, who has his own life and his own standards. That's the man who keeps our interest. The man who isn't affected by hot and cold behavior is the man who wins. Not indifferent. Not cold. Just grounded. Interested but not needy. Present but not chasing. He values the connection, but he values himself more. And that's the shift you need to make mentally. Stop asking, what did I do wrong? Start asking, what is she communicating? Stop reacting. Start responding. Stop being powerless. Start being grounded. When you master that shift, hot and cold behavior stops controlling you. It becomes just another signal you can read, another pattern you understand. And you move through relationships from a position of strength, not desperation. So here's what you need to remember. There are 3 types of hot and cold behavior. The interest test. The processing pullback. The fading interest. Your response to each one determines the outcome. Don't chase when she's testing. Give space when she's processing. Pull back when interest is fading. And here's the truth. Hot and cold behavior only has power if you give it power. The man who stays grounded, who isn't affected by her mood shifts, who values himself as much as the connection, that's the man women respect. That's the man who wins. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever dealt with hot and cold behavior? How did you handle it? Drop your story in the comments. I'll be reading and replying because these conversations matter. Share this with a brother who needs it. That's how you win.